Hello and welcome everyone to the 2023 Ontario Business Achievement Awards, proudly brought to you by our series presenting partner, Canadian National Railway. This year's episodes are all around the theme of building a sustainable future, and there's no more important topic within the sustainable future when it comes to Ontario than critical minerals, both the mining and the processing. I've got some good news and I've got some even better news. The good news is Ontario has what the world needs when it comes with respect to critical minerals. And the even better news is that these minerals are crucial to building a green future that is both going to protect the environment and create incredible jobs for those of us here in Ontario and across Canada. Not a bad deal. It's also a topic that allows us to talk about something that's equally crucial to the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and the economy as a whole, and that is our relationship with our Indigenous brothers and sisters, because without them, there is no way to fully leverage the potential of the resources of this great province. We want to give a big shout out to our episode partner, Bennett Jones, without whom this wouldn't have been possible, and to our contributing partners at the TMX Group. Did you know that there are 37 active mining operations in Ontario today? Well, to tell you a little bit more about them, I'm bringing back my colleague, Claudia DeSanti. Claudia, tell us a bit more.
Thanks, Rocco. Now, of those 37 active mines, 10 of them produce critical minerals. Critical minerals is not a new term. It refers to minerals whose supply may be uncertain, but that are essential to the world's economy. There was a time when something as common as salt was a critical mineral. Today, it usually refers to minerals used in the tech industry, like lithium, tellurium, and platinum. For more, let's look at this.
For over a century, Ontario's Chambers of Commerce and Boards of Trade have been a driving force, supporting both communities and businesses. Through challenges, we've stood strong, connecting voices and advocating for what matters most. In the spirit of collaboration, we find strength. A network of over 60,000 business owners shaping the future of our province by driving sustainable economic growth and cultivating resilient communities. We are your community partners. Together, we are unstoppable. For more information, visit www.occ.ca/chamber-network-directory.
And speaking of valuable, there are just enormous opportunities for joint ventures between Indigenous communities and established mining companies. And I'm not talking just about joint business ventures, but the sharing of education and learning, which is so crucial to building a sustainable future. Now it gives me great pleasure to premiere a brand new game show.
It's time to play Know Your Mineral. The game where Ontario Chamber departments square off for bragging rights.
Hello everybody and welcome to Know Your Minerals. I'm your host, Daniel Safiani, and I'm excited to meet today's contestants.
Playing for the policy department, we have Nikki. Playing for the public affairs department, we have Samir. Playing for member services is Maria.
Thanks, Neville. You guys know how the game works. We put the questions up on the board, and if you buzz in first, with the correct answer, of course, you win the points. Now, our categories today are minerals, supply chain, and can you dig it? Maria, I believe you won the coin toss backstage, so you get to pick the first category. What do you want to start us off with?
Minerals for 100, please, Dan.
Okay, Maria, here's the question. What everyday kitchen essential was once considered a critical mineral? Nikki, you buzzed in.
Is it salt?
Salt is correct. Nikki, it's your board.
Minerals for 200, please, Dan.
The question, which province in Canada produces the most gold and nickel? Nikki, again.
Is it Nunavut?
That's incorrect. Maria.
Is it Ontario?
Ontario it is. Maria, it's your choice.
Minerals for 300, please.
Canada produces 5% of the world's nickel. We are 6th in production and 3rd in reserves. But what is the elemental symbol for nickel? Samir.
I believe that is Ni, Dan.
Yes! Samir, it's your play.
Let's try supply chain for 100, please.
What is the primary mode of transportation for bulk commodities in the mining industry? Nikki.
Flatbed?
Samir.
Is it by mining truck?
Maria.
Train.
Correct. Maria, you have control of the board.
Supply chain for 200.
In 2020, how many active agreements were in place between Indigenous communities and mining companies? Nikki.
140?
That is incorrect. Maria.
142.
That's right, Maria. And it's still your board. On a roll.
Let's stay with supply chain for 300, please.
The federal government webpage on critical minerals refers to an FPT task team. What does FPT stand for? Samir.
I believe that is federal, provincial, and territorial, Dan.
That's correct, Samir. And before we move on to our next question, let's take a quick break and watch this message from our sponsor.
The Bennett Jones mining team is sought after for our expertise and practical approach to deal making. Our mining team has been at the forefront of the exponential growth of the mining industry, well before critical minerals were ever considered critical. In the last 5 years alone, we've advised on more than $14 billion in mining transactions. and have been the trusted advisors on many of Canada's most noteworthy mining M&A and financing mandates. Recently, we've advised clients like Magna Mining and Canada Nickel, who are each developing extensive critical mineral projects in Ontario. We are also leaders upstream with clients in the EV battery chain, including Volkswagen Group as it builds its $7 billion EV battery gigafactory in St. Thomas, Ontario. Bennett Jones has the experience and talent to continue to be a trusted advisor to companies seeking to capitalize on the opportunities in the next wave of growth in the critical mineral sector. The era of critical minerals is going to be an incredible story for Ontario and our clients, and we are truly excited to be part of it.
Thank you again to our friends at Bennett Jones. Samir, you still have control of the board.
Let's finish the category. Supply for 400, please.
Samir, you found our special video clue. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Brad Ryder with Agnico Eagle Mines. Which Ontario mined metal is added to water purification in hospitals and community systems?
Samir.
Silver?
Correct. Silver is used to purify water and control bacteria growth. Samir, board is still yours.
Can you dig it for 100, please?
What is the industry term used to describe mining material that has been dug up but discarded? Nikki.
Overburden?
With confidence. Nice going, Nikki. Where are we going next?
Let's dig it for 200.
This is a visual clue. Please direct your eyes to the photo on the screen. This $11 million mining vehicle uses its 50 cubic meter bucket to dig and lift overburden into movers. It broke a record for volume in one lift right here in Canada. What is the functional name of this machine? Maria, again.
Excavator.
You got it, and only 2 questions left. Maria, over to you.
Let's finish off. Can you dig it, Dan?
Name the process that uses liquid to separate minerals from other materials. Nikki.
Flotation?
Correct, Nikki. And with that answer, you've moved yourself back into contention. We've got ourselves a game here, folks, with just 1 question remaining. So back to minerals for 400 for the final question. Name the 5 critical minerals required for producing an electric vehicle battery. Maria for the outright victory.
Is it lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and zinc?
No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Samir with the steal.
Is it lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and gold?
No, wrong again. Nikki.
Is it lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and graphite?
Correct, Nikki. Well done. Maria and Samir missed it, but you added graphite for the win, and with that, you've pulled it into a 3-way tie. Each of you has finished with 1,000 points. Congratulations to you all. Friends, that's all the time we have for today. Our thanks to Maria, Samir, and Nikki. Once again, I've been your host, Dan Saffieni, saying so long for now and reminding everyone that hard rockers aren't the only ones that can dig heavy metal. See you next time on Know Your Minerals.
Earlier, I had the opportunity to sit down with Saga Williams of the First Nations Major Projects Coalition. We discussed some of the big projects that the coalition is working on, especially those in the mining industry. Saga, thank you so much for making time for this. We know how busy you and your colleagues are at the First Nations Major Projects Coalition. To start, why don't you tell us a little bit about the coalition, what its mission is, and what your role is there?
Well, thank you for this opportunity, Claudia. The coalition was started in Western Canada in 2015. We started out with a few members in that area and have since grown to over 140 members across the country. We have representation in every region. One of the things that we do at the Coalition is support communities' capacity to participate in equity projects. Right now, we're supporting 9 projects with a number of communities involved in those projects with over $40 billion in interest within those communities. My role at the Coalition is to support membership outreach. I'm a senior advisor in external relations and looking at expanding our membership within Central and Eastern Canada. The other thing I do within the Coalition is support their critical minerals file.
So speaking of critical minerals, in Ontario and across Canada, we have a wealth of critical minerals. What does it mean to prioritize Indigenous values in the development of those projects?
I think that's a really important question, and I think that's what distinguishes the work that we do at the Coalition. One of the things that we've done is have First Nations participate in environmental assessments, and through that work, we've incorporated traditional knowledge in the environmental sustainability of a project. So our values are really looking at 7 generations forward, saying, is this sustainable project, and will development work economically within our communities and make our communities a better place for future generations?
Tell me a little bit more about that link between Indigenous values of sustainability and critical minerals.
I think that we understand that we need to play a role in reducing carbon emissions globally. What that role looks like is, I think, where the work of the Coalition comes in terms of supporting communities' capacity to look at how they can integrate themselves into a project, including incorporating those Indigenous values in that project. So when we're looking at a project happening in our territory, we can say, where should mining happen? Where should mining not happen? Because our connection to the land is very impactful in terms of who we are as a people. So we're very connected to the air, we're very connected to the land, we're very connected to the water, and we feel those impacts disproportionately in terms of forest fires, in terms of flooding, and in terms of droughts. So having our say and integration into those processes is very, very important to us and the way that we live on the land.
Absolutely. You mentioned 9 projects that the Coalition's currently working on. Is there one on the critical mineral side that you're particularly excited about?
One of the things that we have done at the Coalition is look at the environmental assessment process and worked with our members to talk about how we can integrate ourselves into that process from a traditional knowledge perspective. So we have numerous resources on our website. We do workshops to build capacity for communities to participate in environmental assessments. We look at how we can express the values that we inherited from our ancestors to be incorporated in an environmental assessment process. So the work of the Coalition isn't just about supporting the 9 projects that we're participating in. It's about building First Nations capacity to be able to express how our values feed into environmental assessment processes across the country. I would say that there are projects that we're involved with in terms of lithium and nickel in particular, and our participation in those projects is very key and important in terms of those developments. But I would say what's more exciting is that we're creating the space for all communities to participate in resource development that happens, and particularly in the critical minerals sector. So our participation looks like infrastructure development around mining activity. It looks like equity participation in terms of those projects that are moving forward, and having communities participate with their companies being part of the exploration process. So at all stages of mining, we're looking at building communities' capacity to participate from an economic perspective. It's really important that the work of the Coalition continues to reinforce First Nations participation in critical mineral development and infrastructure development in this country. We support communities' capacity in terms of expressing our values around traditional knowledge and ensuring that the environment is a key consideration in resource development. and as well as economic participation. So when we're looking at an era of economic reconciliation in this country, it means that we have the opportunities to participate in resource development and specifically critical mineral development in Canada.
Do you see in the mining industry the principle of free, prior, and informed consent working successfully?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We just held 2 roundtables recently on critical mineral development in this country, one in Vancouver and one in Toronto. And we had First Nations, industry, and government participation. And that's one of the questions that we asked is, what does free, prior, and informed consent look like in terms of critical mineral development? And the answer that we received was it looks like truly informed community decision-making. So the transparency and sharing of information when it comes to resource development. It also looks like providing capacity support for communities to talk to and negotiate and create relationships with mining companies that are doing exploration and activities in one's traditional territory, so that informed decisions around economic participation can take place.
That's wonderful, Saga. We're very excited at the Chamber to keep our eyes on the work that the Coalition is doing, and thank you so much for your time today.
Well, I appreciate being here. Thank you. Miigwech.
Getting 300 million tons of freight to market and powering the economic growth of a nation, that takes a lot. It takes fortitude and focus, a strong footprint, and a commitment to reducing it. It takes partnerships, communities, collaboration. It takes a vision and care for one another. It takes all of us together into the future.
The potential for Ontario and Canada is limitless. And if we do it the right way, we get to advance our truth and reconciliation agenda tremendously. Big thanks to my colleagues Dan and Claudia for bringing the fun and bringing the knowledge in the game show. Enormous thanks to our series presenting partner, Canadian National Railway, our episode partner at Bennett Jones, and our contributing partners at the TMX Group. And of course, all of you, our viewers, for joining in. Why don't you continue the conversation online with us on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn? Until we meet again, dream big, act now, and let's build this sustainable future together.